Oh, some breaking NBA free agency news in the middle of the preseason. Yeah, Deuce and Mo to talk about breaking news. Shams Charania reporting something that we've heard about for months. The Kings are interested in Russell Westbrook, but today they have agreed to a deal, a 1-year league minimum deal with the 9-time All-Star, the former MVP, going into year number 18, turns 37 in November. Russell Westbrook is a member of the Sacramento Kings.
Hey, who would have thought?
Who would have thought? This team, DeRozan, Levine, Sabonis, Westbrook in 2016.
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit.
Give me that roster.
Holy shit.
No.
But let's talk about where this is going, where the Kings are headed, and why did they do this? Because I think the collective response from the NBA universe and fans in Sacramento is, why? What's going? What are the Kings? What are they trying to do? Let's talk about this direction, and then we'll dive into him. Scott Perry taking over as general manager, and it feels like this year for Sacramento is like, hey.
Transition year.
It's a transition year.
Yep.
They have all these contracts, Sabonis, Levine, and to a certain extent, DeMar DeRozan and maybe Malik Monk. That doesn't seem like many teams want. So what do you do in this situation?
Well,
you're kind of stuck.
You identify it as the transition year that you're stuck in, that you have to work with what you got, right? And I think to go along the questions of why, what are the Kings doing? Let's start there, because that has been the biggest question. You and I have been able to process this now with Russell Westbrook for a couple of days, and now just kind of understanding that this is where we are at with Russell Westbrook being the backup point guard. It's starting to make more and more sense. I know there's so many Kings fans out there going, why? What about opportunities for everyone else? Just hear me out right now. So this week or last week, Keegan Murray went down. The thumb ended up getting surgery. He's getting reevaluated in 4 to 6 weeks. As soon as that happened, we looked at the wing depth and
and you kept looking because there's nothing there.
There's nothing there. The lack of.
Okay.
And it was a holy shit, that's scary when you really don't know what you got to do with the roster when someone goes down. Well, look at the roster with point guards, not guards. We know there's 800 guards. Point guards on this team where the Kings actually feel comfortable or confident with someone being a floor manager and handling the basketball out there as a true point guard. Dennis Schroeder is that guy. Who's behind him? Well, you and I, you and I and so many others have named people who we thought could be in that position.
And to be fair, in previous years, Malik Monk's kind of taken on that responsibility as a backup guard. I think he's more than capable. It's clear to me they don't necessarily view him as that. They look at him more of a combo guard.
Yes. And so that's why then when we heard, okay, Russell Westbrook is probably going to happen.
But other options on the roster. Let's just talk about that.
Okay, fair.
Devin Carter's not a point guard.
No, not a point guard.
Keon Ellis is not a point guard.
Nope.
The one that I would push back on today, and I know he's not like a certified point guard.
Wasn't a point guard as in college, like certified point guard.
Is a rookie, Neat Clifford.
Absolutely. His feel...
I think he's got that. I think he's got good instincts. He can read the game. And I'm not saying it would be smooth sailing. You'd be asking a rookie to, play 20, 25 minutes at a point guard spot. But also, like, I think some fans go, yeah, who cares? Like, what are you trying to accomplish this year anyway? You're not contending for a championship. At best, going into the season, you're like a play-in spot.
Yeah.
At best. So why not give a young guy like Neat Clifford that responsibility?
And it's a totally fair point, and it's a fair debate. And I think the thing that would be thrown at that debate is we're not ready to throw a rookie into the fire into a position that we don't even long-term want him to be in. We want him to develop in the position that we want him to be in, and not just throw him into the fire there. Totally understand all those different things. So now that's why here comes Russell Westbrook as that backup point guard. Veteran, he can be a floor manager. He can bring a different style of leadership. You hear how much coaches and players all like him. They especially love him if he's on the team. And you look at this contract too, Deuce, you're feeling good about where it's at.
Yeah. Yes. And let's talk about the Westbrook dynamic.
Okay.
Then. I mean, yeah, I think Westbrook checks a box as a backup point guard in this league. I think he's good enough to play in the league.
Yep.
I mean, he was good enough last year to play on a team who won 50 games. He started some, he came off the bench, played 76 games for them in Denver last year. And obviously, you know what you're going to get with Russ. Like, there's going to be chaotic moments. He's going to take some bad shots from three. He's a career 30% three-point shooter. And for a team in Sacramento that's not littered with three-point shooting, that's not ideal.
Yeah.
Defensively, I think that's where he shined a little bit in Denver last year. You go, okay, like, he's still explosive. He may not be as explosive as he was early in his career in OKC, which was off the charts explosive, but he still can make things happen. Blocks, steals, pressure. He brings an attitude and an edge. And most importantly, brings like a work ethic to the table. Like Morgan was just saying, you cannot find a teammate who played with him that says anything bad about him. They love him because of his approach, his leadership, how he gets to know all the guys in the locker room, how he approaches a game, just like he approaches practice. Like, it's just an intensity. And some people are rubbed the wrong way by that. And that's the thing. He's a polarizing player. There's people who adore Brody. They love him and what he brings. And there's people who despise him. They see all the memes on social media, him taking bad threes, clanking. What happened in Minnesota last year when he had that steal in that national TV game, smoked the layup in the other end, fouled a three-point shooter, and Minnesota won the game. Like, those are the moments that people talk about, but people who actually play with him go, no. Like, this is what he can bring to the table. And I think he can help Nate Clifford, and he can help some of the young guys. And you look at the Kings point guard situation after the Fox deal last year, they didn't really have a good point guard situation. It was Malik Monk and who else? And then Monk got hurt, and you're going, DeRozan's bringing up the ball. Levine, like, it's a bonus. Well, now they do have two capable point guards. They don't have a point guard of the future. It's a stopgap, but that's where the Kings are at. They're in a stopgap situation. It's like, this team, I don't think Scott Perry, the new Kings GM, is looking at this team today and going, all right, well, I got back up point guard. We're good to go. I mean, you can't. I just think the Kings are in, honestly, one of the worst positions to be in the NBA. One, it's being stuck in the middle, right? Where you're not like terrible enough to have the worst record, but you're not good enough to be a playoff team. You're kind of in the middle, on the fringes, pushing for a play-in team. But what's that mean when you got a whole bunch of guys like DeRozan and Westbrook who are older, Sabonis? What's that mean? But on top of that, you have all these contracts. Sabonis making like 45, 46 million. Levine making 48 million. DeRozan's making 25, partial guaranteed of 10 million next year. Monk makes like 20 plus million. And you need to get off some of these guys. And so how do you get off some of these guys in the future if you're trying to like pick a path? Well, you would have to attach picks, or you have to wait for them to expire, or you have to maximize what you have now, and hopefully that restores value, and you can look to move things down the road. And then one more thing on top of that. So we're talking about bad contracts, aging roster, not a lot of upside. You're not also littered with young talent, intriguing talent, Keegan Murray, Keon Ellis, Nate Clifford, Max Raynell. But these are like 18, 19-year-olds either. And I don't think we look at any of those guys at this part in time and go, that's a star. No. So that is a very tough place to be in the NBA.
It is. And I think if you were to just look at this roster and you were to look at individual talent and look at their resumes, you're going, holy shit, like, why can't that work, right? Well, and at times, I think that's what Doug Christie and Scott Perry and the rest of the organization think too. Like, well, why can't this work if we bring it together and actually go back to the fundamentals and change the mentality of what we're looking for? And what's cool, it really does seem like a lot of these guys want to buy into that. They don't want it to be a wasteful year of basketball. They take pride in the game. And I'm very happy for that. Like, not only are they talking about it, you're seeing it from some individuals, for example, like Zach LaVine. Like, you're seeing him turn it up on the defensive end just a little bit more. DeMar wants to turn it up, but you can just tell his body isn't allowing him to turn it up. He's just in a different place in his career at this point. So, like, you have the individuals like that. How Doug goes about rotations, you can only hope that there's going to be enough minutes and opportunities for the other guys. And let's go there right now, because I think that is where the biggest concern comes in when you see Russell Westbrook, the breaking news from Shams. It's like, okay, well then where are the opportunities going to be for Keon, for Devin, for Neek, name that guard, Malik. Like, name that guard. And so, yeah, that's just one of those spots that we're in right now.
That's probably the biggest concern, right?
Yes.
And that's the Kings are in a spot too. We talk about like the contracts, but it's also kind of the roster construction where you have a lot of guards. Now you have two who could play point guard, but a guard heavy team without legitimate size at the wing position. Your most talented wing, Keegan Murray, is out. Even with Keegan, we're like, hey, they're very thin. Like, they need some help there.
Yeah.
That's a really problematic spot to be in. How are you going to get any stops in the Western Conference? How is that going to happen? And then offensively, do you have enough shooting to compete offensively? Like, those are problematic issues. So then you start talking about you're playing Westbrook more. Okay. Like, there's things he can help you with out there, but he doesn't help with the shooting. He can create some looks for others, but it's so imperative to make sure you still have shooting out there. Keon Ellis has to play. He has to play. He's too talented of a player. He's
both ends.
one of your best 3-point shooters, and then defensively, he's a pest, and he's one of your better defenders on the team. You don't have a lot of that. Okay? Devin's not playing. I think that's pretty clear. Devin's not playing, and that's unfortunate too, because you drafted this guy in the first round last year. The old front office did. So, okay, that's a tough spot. Where do you find minutes for Malik Monk?
I know.
And I don't know the answer. So if you're playing Malik, who are you not playing? Keon a little bit? Someone's going to be impacted by this. And that's where it's almost urgent for Scott and that front office to be like, how do we move someone like Malik? Can we move Malik? Is there a team out there willing to take him?
But also, you didn't mention Neek there because your confidence is that he's going to have the opportunities in the minutes that he...
Especially with how thin the Kings are up front. I feel like he'll play like the backup 3.
Okay.
I mean, he's not big enough for the 4 unless you're going up against a super small team. But I think he could play some 3, some 2.
So now go back to the movement that you were just talking about and teams actually being willing or wanting some of these other pieces, especially in preseason. That's the same thing that you said to me the other day when we were talking about all this. You're like, what teams are just known for making all these trades in the preseason, right? Like they want to see what they have and then go, closer and closer to the trade deadline and see what other teams are willing to trade.
You really don't see much activity. No. Maybe it starts percolating a bit in December-ish.
Yeah.
Like late December-ish, then you get into January, and then of course the deadline, Spurs action, and what do you know, shit may go down. But I mean, I think if there's one criticism I'd have of this new front office for Sacramento is like they needed to address the front court. And it doesn't mean you needed to like find the future, but you needed some size and athleticism. And look, from a certain extent, I understand the challenge of finding those. Like you're asking the Kings to find someone between like 6'6" and 6'9" who could defend at an adequate level and maybe be able to hit shots. That's not always easy to find in the league because everybody wants those guys. Sacramento is so thin in that spot. And that's where you look at even today, you add Westbrook. Does it make them better? I don't know. I mean, I think in some ways it does.
It's security. It's security.
Sure, but it hasn't addressed some of their biggest weaknesses. They're still probably not going to be very good defensively. I think the pushback they would have is like, look, we're trying to establish a culture and identity. And Russ is going to compete every single night. He is going to play hard, and we know that. And as we establish something here, it's important to have people like that can do it, and someone with his type of resume. Like players respect him, young guys respect him. Neek Clifford grew up watching Russell Westbrook and saw him at his best, and now he gets the opportunity to learn from him. Also, there are some relationships. I know Morgan was pointing in my sheet here. Yeah. It's crazy because, he played with Sabonis. He played with Monk. He played with Schroeder. He played with Saric. He played with Doug McDermott. I'm sure we're missing some. He also has a connection with Neek Clifford. I don't know how this came to be, but Neek modeled for Honor the Gift, which is Russ's clothing line. So I don't know what the relationship is there, whatever. But my whole point is the Kings pushback is like, we're trying to establish something. If we can do that, if Neek Clifford can benefit, if Devin Carter could benefit, or some of our young guys benefit from being around Russ and seeing how he approaches every single game, that could have long-lasting effects for what we're trying to build here long term. I just don't think Sacramento as an organization is looking at this year's team and going, hey, man, this is it. We got it locked and loaded for years to come. I think they're trying to field a competitive team in a competitive environment, and this team might be able to be a 35 to 41
and I think
win
that
team.
understanding is there. I feel like that understanding is there, because even without Russell Westbrook today, it's like, what are you expecting? And not just because Keegan went down. It's like, what are you expecting? And what I was hoping, or am hoping to see, which we haven't seen in the preseason yet, was the identity that Doug Christie has talked about, that all the guys have talked about. We just haven't seen that full force from the beginning of each game with the starting unit, right? And in some ways I go, it's preseason. Calm the F down, everyone, right? But in other ways I go, well, this is when you start it. Like, this is when you practice it. This is when you put it out there. And what's been cool is that whenever you're seeing that second, third, whatever unit go in with some of the younger guys with the Kings roster, it is there. They understand what's at stake, what they need to do, and how they're going to look good to get playing time, to get opportunities, doing the right thing, doing what was said, what was told. So you're already seeing that starting to be established with that group. And maybe in some ways, Russell Westbrook will bring that, not only with the guys that he knows, with the vets that he knows, but also, like we said, that will bleed into the younger guys, into the second unit and everything else, especially with him just on this roster as a whole.
One of the questions I have is, why so late?
Oh, yes.
You know, and I don't know, you start going into the business side of things, like, why do the Kings wait until we're halfway through their preseason, a week before the season opens, to sign Russell Westbrook? Or why did Westbrook wait so long to decide?
Yeah.
We don't know exactly what is what. Russ opted out of the final year of his deal with Denver, which would have paid him like the league minimum, which he just got in Sacramento.
Mm-hmm.
I think part of it probably was this. And there have been rumors out of Denver that maybe he was going to play a lot this year, so that's why he opted out. But I think he also opted out thinking there could be more opportunity elsewhere and more money elsewhere. And maybe as we got closer to the season, he's like, you know what? I just want to play. I've talked to the Kings a little bit.
Yep.
Let me just do a minimum thing.
And that's where I think the Kings, if anything, did a good job of just being patient with it and not just being like, okay, let's just offer
give you
this
$8 million or
because we need to have a backup point guard, right? It's just like such a low risk move to have Russell Westbrook here with that contract. I like it. I'm with it. So whether it was just like a patient playing the game thing, I thought that was at least executed.
I think you also have to think about the perspective from those outside Sacramento, those NBA fans who are going, it's trying to process stuff we've already processed, right? Which is, how did the Kings go from being one of the most exciting teams a few years back, 48 wins, coach of the year, executive of the year, De'Aaron Fox, Sabonis All-Stars, to this? And yeah, we've processed it, but you have to understand, people around the NBA universe are going, what happened? What happened? And that will be a documentary one of these days once the Kings turn things around and maybe win a championship in 25 years.
That's cute. Put it out there.
But it went bad fast. And now they're in this spot where it's like, I said this today to someone, I kind of want to hit the fast forward button just to see what 2028, 2029 looks like, to see like how does it feel? Does it look like there's more hope? Because
did you say 2028, 29?
Yeah.
So you just want to like fast forward a couple years?
I want to see what's going on. I just want to see what
bud, the journey, that's part of life.
I'm going to enjoy the journey. You know what I always do?
Oh,
trust me. There's going to be moments we're going live after games and it's like, Westbrook, dude, 32 against OKC.
Kings
and
lost.
They won. Or a Russ game where fans are going to, you know how Sacramento fans are. Yeah. They appreciate the heart, the hustle, the intensity.
Absolutely.
He does check those boxes. Now, he's going to smoke some layups. He's going to make some bad turnovers.
He's going to miss some
shots.
He's
going to miss some threes. Yeah, you live with the experience for sure. But there are going to be moments this year where like, dude, how fun has that been? I'm just telling you, he is, for better or worse, whether you like him or not, the guy was a top 75 player in this league. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. And he has accomplished so much in his career. If you want to question the Kings' path right now, I totally get it.
Yeah.
I'm just realistically looking at this going, yeah, they're just kind of stuck right now. I mean, the case could be made. They could have just brought in a different veteran point guard,
But who? I mean,
I don't know
exactly.
who that would be.
And that's the thing. Even when we say like, well, who? And when you look at more depth in the front court too. You know, the one that just kills me is that Trey Lyles is playing overseas and how good he would look right now. Just having that body, his ability to stretch the floor, go small ball 5, like all the things.
Okay.
Crazy.
For people listening to this outside Sacramento, just know Deuce and Mo are clamoring for Trey Lyles at this point. That's how the wing depth is. That's how the size up front is. It's like, yeah, dude, Trey, I know he's playing in Spain. What's the bio of that deal? Can you bring him in? Like, you might want to look at it. I mean, hey, we're at the prospect that opening night, the Kings could be starting Dario Saric, Maxime Reynaud, Isaac Jones, or Drew Eubanks.
Oh, I thought
with Sabonis.
First, I thought you were saying all these guys. I was like, wait, all these guys starting? What happened to everyone?
I'm saying the prospect of one of those guys starting. And that's not a great spot to be in as you are embarking on an 82-game journey against a Western Conference that is absolutely disgustingly brutal.
Yeah. And that's the bottom line is what we've been saying since the beginning. If you can get this team, these players, these individuals to buy in, to be as one, this entire roster to believe this identity of fundamentals and toughness and, you know, name the cliche word, but it's so true when you do have a team that does the right thing, picks up 94 feet, you know, brings it all together. There's no weak link, all the things. When you have a team that can do that, you're going to get a fun fucking product on the floor. And that's cool to watch every single night. But if you don't have that, and we just haven't seen that in the first 2 preseason games, that's where it can get frustrating. So hopefully Russ could be like one of those missing pieces that can bring some extra fire in all of that. But like, I don't see that translating into W's. I just see it translating hopefully into some better basketball being played on both ends of the floor.
Yeah, and like we said, if he can impact like Neek or something, you're like, okay, cool. I mean, Russ is, I've always been like, Russ is one of those guys, especially in recent years, when you watch him, he's so irritating, the way he talks shit to people, like all this stuff. But he's also one of those guys that, like, if he's on your team, you love him in those fun moments. Yeah. And I'm sure he's beyond infuriating in some of those other moments where you're just like, cool, dude, that was a great 3-point attempt. What are you doing there? Why did you just throw that ball second row in the stands? To be fair. But I think one of the things you start thinking about, like, what's the ceiling for this Kings group? I mean, Keegan missing potentially the first 6 weeks. I still go, they're like a 35-win team. And, you know, I think if Keegan is healthy, we're maybe having a different conversation, pushing for 500, being a play-in team. But it's just tough to see at this point with their weaknesses that they have up front and the issues that they have defensively when you have a lineup that features like DeRozan, no Keegan, the lack of size, not a rim protector with Sabonis at all. He gets hit a lot in the pick and roll. Like that's tough. And so I guess my question is like, what's this look like if it goes really bad early, which could happen with the schedule being tough. We talked about how they have 9 games against OKC, Denver, and Minnesota before Thanksgiving. I mean, I don't even know how many games they play before Christmas, or Thanksgiving. What if they start off like 7-15? Yeah. How are the vibes like with these vets? Like, how do you maneuver all of that stuff?
It's tough. Okay. It's tough. I don't know necessarily how or what you're supposed to do. I think as an organization, what you usually do when that happens is you make changes. But I say that, what other teams are willing to take on some of these changes, some of these tweaks? Like, that's what you have to ask. And maybe there's another organization out there that is going through something similar that is maybe willing. And you don't want to just switch guys around. You want to do things that actually make sense. But I get it. People are feeling down about what this roster really means in the Western Conference right now. But I'm really just hoping they can show some sort of product that gives me that doesn't give me hope of like, oh man, they can actually make a plan. Like, I don't care about that. I just want to be entertain this basketball soul.
Westbrook's he always has a chip on his shoulder. The chip's even bigger now, right? He probably feels disrespect. All these people going, oh, he's going to go to China. No one wants him. He's going to Sacramento. What a joke. Like, he'll be fueled by that a little bit. Yeah. And I don't know.
I think it's you know what's cool for basketball sickos, especially in Sacramento, I think it's always cool to see like a NBA player with that resume in Sacramento at some point with
Can
the
I just
jersey
say
on.
this? Yes, but like I much rather be like, hey, I'm a championship level team, and we just added Westbrook as a good vibes, not because like, oh, there's no one else in the league who wants him, and you're not a good team. Like,
I know, but
I'm just saying, like, I'd much rather have that. Like this guy, not like we've seen in the past years. Like Vince Carter played for Sacramento.
I know.
Right? We've had some really
well,
random...
at least that was Vince at the end. Like Russ, at least, I mean, we were watching.
This is Russ at the end. He
Russ
probably has what?
No. But listen, the difference is their bodies and their athletic ability at the end. Vince could barely jump anymore. And Russ, like you look at his highlights from last year with the Nuggets, actually making an impact with the team that made the playoffs, right?
I mean, we were watching some of his defensive plays from last year, and I was like, okay, like I like the on-ball pressure. I like his athleticism still there. Like he still has really fun moments. But
that's all I'm saying.
I don't know. My perspective is simple. Nothing's really changed too much on my end. This year is going to be ups and downs. There's going to be highs and lows. And
bring it on.
Hopefully the years to come improve.
Let
us know how you're feeling about Westbrook to the Kings. Does it change the way you feel about Sacramento? Are you excited? Are you pissed? Let us know in the comments. Hit the thumbs up and subscribe. We'll talk more about this later tonight following Kings and Clippers.
Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. The podcast that you know.